What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Maverick here with episode 9 of Pet. So, last episode we had Satoru and Hiroki working together on a mission for the company where all things were going right until they went wrong, right? They successfully completed their mission, but Hiroki uh, got nausea or something like that. I suspect that the reason for his sudden collapse is actually because he's been overexerting himself, possibly, or maybe it's some after effect of helping to save Tsukasa. But anyways, the important thing is he's being wheeled off to the hospital, and the company members do not like that, right? And I suspect it's because perhaps the baby is there as well. The secret weapon that the company has. So, is that true or not? I don't know, but it's a good guess as any, I guess. And also, we can look forward to Hiroki eventually learning the truth either through Tsukasa or figuring out himself and setting up for a final confrontation. Well, maybe not final, but a confrontation between him and Tsukasa, right? Because if there's anybody who's going to be able to bring Tsukasa back, turn him back from the bad guys back to good guys or something, it's probably going to have to be Hiroki. So, let's get into the episode and see if that is true or not. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. The way the wind blows. Anywhere the wind blows. Okay, Mountaineerish. So it's indirectly because of Tsukasa. Right, and this is the CEO, right? Oh, no wait, this is someone completely different. As the name Pet implies. No, I have sympathy for the seiyus of this anime. They're doing a half decent job of speaking Mandarin, I gotta say. Wait, is it Hayashi in the hospital? It can't be, right? Hmm. Yeah. Quite the nosy one. He's really like a little pet, a little kid. Wow, so they're able to keep subconsciously projecting themselves out. Alright, probably not Hayashi, now that I think about it. So, it's not just a it's not just a honorary title or something, it's an actual son. Ha. So that body is in the mortuary. It is in that hospital. He's just gonna Jedi mind trick him.
ここに入りたいんだけど。
開かないよ。使ってない部屋なんだから。
いや、誰か使ってるはずなんだよ。
あんた何？遺族じゃないの？入院患者だったらちゃんと病室で。
あんた守衛さんだろ？いろんな部屋の鍵とか持ってるんだよね。チクタクと。
ここの鍵は誰にも貸しちゃいけないんだ。ここを勝手に開けたら俺の家に。
Ooh, a reverse.
殺されてしまうんだ。
こいつ。
Yeah, a reverse hypnosis.
いいか、よく聞けよ。今すぐここを開けないと強盗が入るんだよ。
強盗は嫌だよ。
だから、ここを開ければ強盗は入らないんだ。今すぐここを開けろ。そうすれば安心だぞ。
So does this mean his abilities are stronger?
なんて、会社の連中が関係してるってことなのか。
開いたよ。ほら。
Hayashi's body? Yep. Alright. But he's not gonna know this is Hayashi.
なんだこいつ、潰れてるのか。いや、この風のイメージ、まだ潰れてない証拠だ。
Aww.
司の時と同じだ。
And he's gonna help.
俺たちの山はもともとインチキなんだ。自分の記憶が作った山じゃないから。
Oh, he's gonna figure out that this is the...
にも辻褄が最初から合ってないんだ。
He's related with Tsukasa somehow.
力で他人の記憶の場所を無理やり山や谷として定着させてるから、いざとなればイメージが勝手に働いて完全に潰れるまでの時間稼ぎをしちゃうのかもな。
だけど、なんで。
これでも強盗は来ないんだよね。
ああ。ところで、この男が誰かは知ってるのか？
知らないよ。誰？
わかった。もういいよ。用が済んだら声かけるから、ここに誰も入れないようにしといてくれよ。
Yeah, he's gonna help revive him.
完全に潰れてさえいなければ。
Talk about irony.
残ってるはずだ。
He's gonna be like, this is deja vu.
これって、だってここって。何？
サトルの居場所を教えてください。
サトルだって。あんたサトルを知ってるのか？おい、待てよ。ちょっと。
司にペットは持たさない約束だったんだ。それなのにどうして？社長は何も言ってないんだよ。司が自分からペットを持たせろって言ってきたんだ。お前が病院でサトルを見つけたのを見習って、司はアジア中の病院を回って自分のペットを探し出したんだぜ。
Trippy Hiroki.
お前と離れて寂しかったんじゃねえのか？今はペットと仲良く暮らしてる。
ペット。
それじゃ繰り返しなんだ。そうやってあんたたちは。
おい。
今までだって山を分けてきたんじゃねえか。
Hmm.
今さら何が嫌なんだよ、林。
林？林って言ったのか？
私はそうやってがんじがらめにしていくんだ。もう十分じゃないか。サトルがどうなってもいいのかよ。司はお前のこと恨んでるんだぜ。ものすごくな。司が自分のペットと組んでかかりゃサトルなんてわけなく潰せるんだぞ。
司とサトルがなんだって。
Hmm.
あの、
サトルにはもう会うなと言ったんだよ、司。
でも、一体何を言ってるんだ、このハゲは。俺がサトルに会わないわけには。だって、メイリンのことにしても、一番詳しいのはこの、俺でしょうし。サトルに会えなけりゃ、潰してやれないじゃないかよ。
いいか、司。私はお前の身の安全のために言ってるんだ。お前はサトルの山親を潰しているんだぞ。まかり間違ってこの件がサトルに知れてみろ。一番困るのはお前じゃないか。林を潰したのがお前だと気づいてしまったら、サトルはお前に何をするかわからん。
How would he find out, though?
そうだろ。
サトルのことより、お前は自分のペットの方をなんとかしろよ。
Or is this is sort of like a counterplay by the CEO?
ああ、もう生意気にカツラギに噛みついてんじゃ使えねえよ。ヒロキは、俺の言うことなら、ちゃんと聞くから。
お前の言うことしか聞かないんじゃ困るんだよ。会社に必要なのは、会社の言うことをちゃんと聞けるペットなんだ。お前がついていないと使えないペットじゃ困るんだよ。お前がそばにいなくてもちゃんと会社に従って会社のために働いて。
Yeah, but that goes against what Tsukasa wants. Because he wants a firm grasp.
こいつは
Hiroki.
脅してるのか。
お前だっていつまでもペットにつきっきりというわけにもいかんだろう。
自分に逆らえばいつでもサトルをけしかけるぞと言ってるんだ。
Yeah, it's a counterplay.
サトルにバラせるんだぞと言ってるんだ。
Of course, they aren't stupid.
林さんを潰したっていう事実を。
Still, though,
サトルの山上の林なのか。おい、待てよ。消えるなよ。サトルが待ってるんだぞ。
素晴らしいサトル。間違いだ。私がお前を見つけてしまった。全てはそこから。
待てよ。待てって。待ってくれ。おい。
dead now? Or I guess not technically dead, but completely crushed.
場所が消えた。嘘だろ。その。くさ。おい。お前のイメージはどうしたんだよ。潰れるなよ、チキショウ。一体どういうことなんだよ。一体何がどうなってる。なんで司の話が出てくるんだ。なるほどな。つまりはサトルに林さんのことを黙っていてほしいなら、ヒロキを会社に引き渡せってことなのかよ。
But why would Satoru believe the company? I'm not sure if that's... I'm not sure if that's a really legitimate threat.
俺もこの先忙しくなるでしょうからね。ヒロキにはそろそろ独立してもらわないとと思って。
Still gotta play the part right now.
俺のペットだぞ。俺が探して俺が育てた俺のペットなんだ。あいつは絶対に俺の言うことしか聞かないんだよ。だから意味があるんじゃないか。だから俺はヒロキだけは信じていられるんだ。
Ooh.
なのにそのヒロキを俺から取り上げるつもりなんだ。会社に従えと俺からヒロキに言えってのか。それは俺が林さんに言われたセリフなんだぞ。その結果がどうなったか俺が知らないとでも思ってるのかよ。それはそうとご栄養に拳銃をいただきたいのですが。
拳銃？
サトルがこうなったら、日本に帰ったらその足でサトルを撃ち殺してやる。サトルがもし結局どこを切ってもサトルが出てきやがるんだ。どこまで俺の邪魔をするつもりであの野郎。林を潰したのが俺だと知ったら、その時身を守れるものが欲しい。全部あいつのせいなんだ。
Man, this guy's losing it.
落ち着け、司。拳銃など持ち歩いて自分のペットになんて言い訳するつもりだ。
そうだよ。ありゃ社員の持ち物だぜ。カツラギじゃあるまいし。ヒロキには事情を説明します。おい、
で林つぶしをばらす気なのか？
それは良くないな。お前のペットが林の件を知ってしまうのは危険だぞ。そこから悟に知られてしまう恐れがあるからな。まあ、お前のペットが悟と一緒に仕事をするのもどうかと思うがな。
そう怯えるなって。まだ悟にはバレちゃいないんだぜ。
不安なら護衛をつけてやってもいいぞ。ただし拳銃はやめておくんだ。
そうか。
それとお前もホテル暮らしに戻った方がいいだろうな。私たちもこれからは上海に移ることになる。
まだ方法はあるじゃないか。ヒロキは悟と仕事をするんだ。悟に会えるんだ。ヒロキが悟を潰せばいい。
Are you really sure you can make...
司の話が出てくるんだ。こいつは悟の山親だろ。だってそんな話。
林さんの車乗るの初めてだな。
林？でもあの時はだってそれに誰がペットだって。だって司だぞ。おかしいじゃないか。司のことは俺が一番よく知って。
Oh, they don't actually know the
だって見りゃわかんだよ。そっくりじゃねえかよ。
the definition of pet.
こいつは司の山親なんだよ。そして司はがこいつを潰したんだ。自分の山親だぞ。
Oh, he's actually much smarter than I give him credit for.
どうして自分の山親を潰せるんだよ。
Oh, I wasn't expecting him to be able to connect the dots. Alright, Hiroki, I underestimated you. Alright, see you guys after this. Alrighty, so as expected, Hiroki did manage to discover some aspects of the truth within the hospital, but it turned out to actually be a lot more spicier than I originally expected, right? I definitely wasn't expecting Hayashi to be there. Instead, I feel like that was a major blunder by the company's part, and I guess it's just a convenient plot device as well. Like, honestly, if they really were concerned about this entire thing, I think putting it someplace on company headquarters or something would be much more which would be much more safer than putting him in just some public place, but whatever, right? It's a plot point here, and now Hiroki has managed to deduct the truth, which I really didn't expect him to be able to do. Like, I know he's not stupid, but still, he has a tendency to jump to conclusions, and he is all trusting of Tsukasa, right? So being able to put two and two together and actually figure out that Hayashi is not only Tsukasa's peak giver, but also it was Tsukasa that actually crushed him. You know, I gotta applaud him on that. I wasn't expecting that out of Hiroki. So yeah, he's learned the truth about this now, and like I said before, since this series is also winding down to a close, very soon we're gonna see a confrontation between him and Tsukasa, who, as we can see in this episode, has some other thoughts on his mind. He wants to ask Hiroki to crush Satoru. It's probably not going to turn out too well for him in that case. And also Hayashi, maybe this really marks him being completely crushed and irreversible. Although, no, we'll have to see, right? I mean, considering that this is a sort of sci-fi series with fantasy elements and whatnot, anything is possible, right? I also really like the sort of back and forth between Tsukasa and the company as well, the CEO. Definitely it shows that both sides are plotting against each other, and they're not just looking at it from a very superficial way, right? So in the last episode, I already explained a lot about what Tsukasa is actually trying to do. You know, he wants to seize the production of dolls for himself. He wants to make it so that he ultimately sorry, not dolls, babies. He wants to control those babies. He has Hiroki by his side. So he, in essence, wields the true power of the company, right? And so he's going to be untouchable. In fact, he's going to be primed to eventually take over the company, because who's going to be there to stop him, right? He's the strongest ability user within the company. He's got Hiroki, his loyal pet, and then he's also got all these other babies that he's going to eventually produce. And that is going to all be part of his forces as well. He's going to be able to amass his force in silence and secrecy. Of course, removing Satoru serves this in one way. without Satoru, the company can only really rely on Tsukasa to make these babies. And secondly, I do feel like Tsukasa has some of his own personal revenge or personal emotions affecting his decision to take out Satoru as well. He's definitely jealous of Satoru, considering that they both have the same peak giver. And he probably really wants wants to do away with him. You know, he's blaming him on all the problems, including why Hayashi did not really take care of Tsukasa better, etc., etc. Now, with that being said, it was definitely a bit too arrogant to assume that the company would not have people who are also good thinkers and can think of all these situations, right? So the company has been dealing with these kinds of ability users for such a long time now. We can clearly see that they have a contingency plan in place. They have their own SOPs, right? And probably one of the biggest things that they try to do is they keep these ability users separate. So they want to minimize contact between them as much as possible so that they're not going to be able to gang up together and form a force, right? If they are only individuals, and in fact, if it's even better if they can pit the individuals against each other, that is going to help them retain control of these ability users, particularly these image users, which are on a completely different level from the normal abilities that the other members of the company use. Right, so we can see it's again all logical. Hey, we know that Hiroki only listens to you. That's not good enough. He needs to listen to us as well. You know, you need to make sure that the babies or whatnot you eventually create, they listen to the company. They don't listen to you. Don't get full of yourself. Don't get ahead of yourself, Tsukasa. Right, like that sort of thing. And then separating him from his pet as well, separating him from Hiroki, so that they're not going to always be in sync with each other, and like if they revolt, then it would be too revolting at the same time, right, against the company. So they do all those stuff as well as precautions to keep all these ability users power in check. So that is definitely a good thing. Now, with that being said, I'm not really sure if I buy into their threat this episode of revealing that Hayashi was killed by Tsukasa to Satoru and using that as leverage. Somehow I get the feeling that Satoru isn't really going to believe them, right? And honestly, where's the evidence? How can he know that Hayashi was crushed by Tsukasa? Like, how can he prove it? Tsukasa can just say to Satoru, no, I did not do it, they're trying to frame me. Who do you guys think Satoru is going to trust, right? So I'm not really sure if I buy into that particular threat, but at least the idea is there, right? They're, again, trying to pit these against each other so that they can stop them from unifying into one central front, right? So at least in that aspect, it was pretty good, pretty good. And yeah, that basically covers it for this episode. Like I said, in the next following episodes, we're gonna see Tsukasa and Hiroki have this big showdown, I guess you could say. Not necessarily by force, but at least through some pretty loud shouting, tears, etc., etc. And I feel like there is still hope yet for Tsukasa to redeem himself, if not completely jumping back to the good side, or at least dying for a good cause, right? And one of the reasons is that he is, you know, he obviously has some issues, right? And his issues stem from, I guess, sort of abandonment issues stemming from Hayashi. So he's really fragile in a sense in his own mental state. So once Hiroki actually starts suspecting stuff, well, he's already suspected stuff, right? Once he starts to question Tsukasa, right, I feel like Tsukasa is gonna have another epic meltdown. He's gonna be like, how can my beloved pet betray me, or something of that sort, right? Whether or not that's actually gonna lead to his eventual demise, or him turning it around 180, and going back on the good side again, or maybe even dying for the good side, that remains to be seen, right? But definitely that is going to be the key question coming up in the future episodes. And so yeah, that's basically it for this one. Quite a nice one. Not really that much to continue to predict or theorycraft about, but it was nice seeing that at least the story tied together with this advancement in development in a pretty tidy and logical manner. So I'll see you guys next week. Until then, bye bye.